Hello, 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 and thank you guys so very much for tuning in today. It is your girl, Miss Lee, full-time real estate investor and entrepreneur based out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. And it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Mr. Brandon Barnes to the show today. Brandon, thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon to be interviewed on the Keys to Success. And as you all know, on the Keys to Success, we interview local business professionals and entrepreneurs to discuss some of their keys to success in their business and in their life. So today, Brandon, if you would take a moment and just introduce yourself to our viewers.
Hey guys, thank you, Hakia, for having me. Always like to have these conversations and kind of give advice or give my background. So, hopefully that's to inspire or show others that, they can fall into success as well. I started originally born near Chicago, but raised here in Atlanta, Stone Mountain, went to school locally. And I always just knew I was going to climb the corporate ladder, but I wanted to be an entrepreneur. At some point, I would just fall into the perfect startup. Like, it was just a perfect opportunity. It was going to fall in my lap, and I was just going to run with it.
Right.
But life happened, and after a few corporate roles, companies that had gotten acquired, literally 3 in a row, it created an opportunity that terminated my position. And I had a buddy that I met in my very first corporate job and internship in Pittsburgh at Hines, that was always talking about real estate, always talking about, hey, this is the way, this is what I'm doing. He had rental properties. And so I called him and said, hey man, like, what's the real estate thing all about?
Right.
And lo and behold, he had also moved to Atlanta, my buddy Daryl Patterson. And he was like, man, just come through. I'm actually wholesaling now. I have this coach. I can plug you in. I can, give you some of the content. And that started everything. That was 2016. And crazy enough, I had just gotten married in October 10/10/15, and was terminated within weeks of that. And so it was a major shock. We have, my youngest son was 2 at the time. So it was a challenge, and the door just opened for real estate wholesaling specifically. And I just ran right through it, never looked back. 4.5 years later, millions of dollars in revenue and wholesale transactions. I now have a monthly meetup here in Atlanta, REI Live Atlanta. I do some coaching, some content, and then I have, of course, my core wholesaling business.
Wow. So you moved to Atlanta and you ran into your buddy, and he's like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm into real estate wholesaling. And you jumped all the way in. How long did it take you from that moment that you got in to really consume the information and close your first deal? What did your first few months of wholesaling look like?
Yeah, great question. So I literally reached out in December, but then the holidays were about to hit, and so I started going over his house, right at the beginning of January, and I was still doing some interviews that thankfully didn't actually go through, and I just was continuing to listen to all the content, listen to all the recorded coaching calls, drive for dollars. And so I was listening to really the coaching calls. And so for anybody that is ever doing like a real estate course or wholesaling course, if they have a library of coaching calls, that's where the real gold is. Like, the first part is the instruction, but listening back to the coaching calls, I listened to literally 2 years of coaching calls while I was driving for dollars. And so during that time, continuing to drive for dollars, but I had $1,000 or so to send out, maybe 1,000 postcards in month 2. So in February, got a townhome under contract. Wells Circle. I forget the street number.
Right.
And it was a lady that was, downsizing and had some tax issues. And I think by mid-February, went under contract. We closed first week in March.
Right.
And that first deal was like 15K. And I split it with my buddy because he helped me with the buyers list. He helped me get everything going. But literally those first 2 months, listening to all the coaching calls, driving for dollars, sent out my first mailer. And lo and behold, I got my first deal from that first batch of mail in, month 2, closed in the beginning of month 3. So
Wow.
pretty quick, track to some success. And then it let me know that it was real. And, I felt it in my gut that the business
Yeah.
makes sense. It was real. But it was just a further example for, my parents and my wife, who, of course, we had a young kid, we had just got married, that, hey, this is the path forward.
Wow. So, I mean, something that really stood out to me in all of that is that you were driving for dollars, but you were listening to the coaching calls while you were driving. How important is it to just consume your mind with the content that it is that you're trying to develop and grow within your business and within your life?
It's super important. Anytime I speak or give a keynote, I always boil it down to my three themes. My three themes for success. For me, that's consistency. That's continuous learning and development, and then lastly, mentorship and networking. And
Wow.
so, like that, like the consistency was, I was continuing to drive, I was continuing to listen to coaching calls and some podcasts. But then the learning and development, it just continued to make me aware of a bunch of different circumstances, a bunch of different experiences from other wholesalers around the nation, and what they were going through. But then it also continued to, give me a solid foundation of knowledge about real estate in general. So the coaching calls helped me with wholesaling specifically, and then I was listening to the best ever real estate um, podcast with Joe Fairless, who he interviews like a wide range of real estate investors. So that just gave me a foundation of the different avenues in real estate that were out there. So for me, to your question, it's very important to continue to learn and develop, because that is the basis for the confidence that you can bring when you're talking to sellers and buyers. Because without that, you have nothing. If you can, with that confidence, even if you haven't done deals, it will help you do deals. And so to have that confidence, you have to educate yourself. So continue, definitely to pour and pour over whatever it is, your topic and your industry.
And that's super important. And it gives you that reinforcement of it is possible, even though you haven't yet achieved the goal. When you were driving, you hadn't yet achieved it, but you knew it's possible because other people are doing it. And by reinforcing that belief system within yourself that keep going, it's, you're one deal away, as a lot of people say, you're just one deal away from that deal closing.
Yes, 100%,
Wow.
100%.
Wow, that's really powerful. So you go through, within 3 months, you close your first deal in the business. What was that? Now you close your first deal. What is your thought process at that point? Is it like, okay, I'm going big, I'm going to spend it all and go to the mall? What was your process and thought once you closed that first deal?
Yeah, just to build momentum. The coaching program that I was a part of gave me a good feeling of what was next. It was do a few deals. Very solid advice was to get like a virtual assistant that's just an administrative assistant, just to
Wow.
manage all the day to day, manage all the marketing, all the KPIs, just give you that support so that you can focus on the business. So that was my first benchmark, to get my LLC, which I did in June. Um, get a VA that same month, or maybe she came on in July. And so like that was going to build the foundation for the business so I could get consistent in marketing. And then a funny thing happened, and I've mentioned this numerous times. That course was built around direct mail, and ultimately, I was run out of money spending on direct mail. But I heard a great podcast about probate deals, while
Right.
driving for dollars, while driving around, going to appointments. And I, added that to my, marketing channel as individualized, personalized letters for probate sellers, or people that are filing for probate. And that opened the door, and that actually really propelled me forward through the end of that year. Because on about $3,000 worth of spend, I maybe made 86 grand
Wow.
just off of those probates. So the vast majority of the money that I made, I did 6 figures that first year. But the vast majority of the money that I made was in the second half of the year after I had an assistant, after I, opened up that marketing channel, and got really consistent and really felt confident in the business.
Wow. So within your first deal, and I know for a lot of investors, and I guess you would attribute that to having that foundation and training program in place. You knew right off the bat, I need to get an assistant. I need to have my list in place. I need to have structure within my business so that I can grow right away. It wasn't something that you waited a long time to put into a place. You established it early on in your business.
100%. And shout out to the coach, Tom Kroll. He also, made me aware of the need to track my KPIs early, have some
Wow.
structure to my marketing, and then have that VA who ultimately did all of that stuff. But it was just a really great program that gave me the entry basis for wholesaling specifically, but then also for business building, which I think it was what I needed. So I had a great roadmap, and I just followed it. And that brings me to that last point, like I mentioned, of the three themes. Continue to network, and mentorship, because without that, I don't have the success that I ultimately had, or had initially, because I had a great mentor and I just followed the instructions, as I continued to educate myself, and then I started to add my secret sauce to it, and went from there.
Wow, that is some powerful stuff. So, I mean, the KPIs and having the mentor, and now you take your business to the next level. How did you transition as your business started to develop into the place of the REI Live and everything that you're involved in now? Where did that vision come from to say, you know what, I know I'm doing this and I can continuously be doing it on my own and build my thing, but what made you want to go bigger?
Man, I'm blessed. It's nothing other than opportunity. Luck makes
Right,
opportunity meets hard work. Plus a little God given blessings. Because,
right,
like I said, even the fact that I literally knew nothing about real estate or wholesaling prior to the beginning of 2016. Had great success that year. End of that year, somebody in the group, Brent Daniels, who was having great success cold calling,
right,
shared some stuff. I networked with him. I reached out. He shared, you know, his keys to growing a cold call operation, and I jumped on with that. I partnered with somebody to help me build a team faster. That gave us great success in years 3 and 4. And then by continuing to network and go to all of the events, like the Wholesaling Inc. events, I actually then ran into a guy by the name of Brian Tripp, who talked about being an authority in your local market. And it was, I out of the speakers in that event, I think that was one of the more powerful ones for me, because it just also made a lot of sense. And
right.
so, but nothing happened from there. He went on to do an event in Asheville. I didn't see him when he actually opened up REI Live. So that first event in Florida was in 2018, where he just talked about how he became an authority in his local market. The next
Mhm.
event in Asheville, I actually missed the first half of the event, but he offered an opportunity for people wanting to open up a REI Live. Well, he came into Atlanta with another investor, but he reached out to me to come support. I went to both of the first two events. The other guy, backed out. And on his way home, he was like, "Hey, Brandon, do you know of anybody that would take this on?" I'm like, I don't know. And so I didn't jump on it, because I knew that was going to be great responsibility.
Right,
It is more in my nature to be a little low key. I like to have, to live well and enjoy, the spoils of my hard work, but just more so on a low key basis.
right.
So I had to have a lot of conversation with my wife, and ask her, for her opinion, because I knew once I stepped into that public space, and to start to have events and be a speaker, there's no
Right.
going back. And so literally that opportunity fell into my lap in the first two events was like March, April, and then I took it over in May. And
Wow.
then that bred, of course, people wanted, to learn how to have similar success. So I started a coaching program from that, and doing content now, a few
Wow.
masterminds later, and now we're here. So a
Wow.
lot of opportunity that literally just fell into place at the right time. And because I was prepared and I was hardworking, I was continuing to network and learning to develop and be consistent, I was able to take advantage of those opportunities. So
Wow.
it wasn't a vision,
I
but
love it. I love it. Now, I mean, tell us a little bit. I mean, with the REI Live, what exactly is REI Live, and what is the vision for it? What is your vision for the REI Live events?
yeah, so it's a group of local investors that are there to network and be empowered to take action and make money in real estate. And though we have local speakers, I try to bring in national speakers as well, because of the foundation that I built through my network, through Brian's network. So out the gate, we had Joe McCall as the first.
Wow.
Um, Speaker. I did a panel the next one. Then Tom Kroll came. I brought Brent Daniels down, Eddie Speed, Jamil Damji, and Pace Morby. Uh,
Wow.
and the list goes on. We just had Don Baker this past month, and it was an awesome presentation that he gave. This month coming up, Chris Jefferson will be on. So a lot of guys that are doing major things around the nation that are just coming to share. They're never here to sell, but they're here to share their keys to success, give folks ideas, or allow them to follow them in their path so that they can continue to see other folks' success, and how to kind of follow in that path. So for me, it's a monthly meetup. There's a lot of RIAs that do every an event every other day of every week of the month for the year.
Right.
Not the vision that I have. I want to have our monthly event, some workshops, and maybe some other virtual events in and
Wow.
out. But it's a place for folks locally and nationally to tune in, hear great instruction. You get an hour with some of the top real estate investors from around the nation. Hear their story, build with them, and have opportunity for instruction to be able to take action yourself and make money in real estate yourself.
Wow. So with the REI Live, are those programs pre-recorded? What, like the last one that you just had, are you able to go back and watch it? Or if you're not there, you've missed it and it's gone. How does that work?
Yeah, no, they're I record them a lot are on the YouTube page. I actually need to put up Don Baker's.
Okay.
But if you are on YouTube and go to Investor in You, Brandon Barnes, you'll see all the content that I put out, as well as those REI Live summaries, or the video of them. So we've done them historically in person at the West End Perimeter North,
Mhm.
at the top of 285 and 400. But in light of everything that's going on this year, it's been a virtual event. So the next one on the third Thursday of this month, if you go to Zoom, reilive.com, you can register for
Okay.
that event with Chris Jefferson.
Wow, that's great stuff. Great stuff. And so it's a Zoom meeting currently, but eventually, potentially, it will go back to being a live event. That is amazing, amazing. And with the REI Live platform, there are different REI locations in each state. And so yours is the Atlanta chapter.
Yeah, there's 4 right now, and I think maybe 5. Birmingham, Columbia, South Carolina, Sarasota, Florida, Orlando, Florida. I think it's kind of going to be in the southeast and then develop. Brian has a plan to take it nationwide, but right now I'm one of the first 5, I guess.
Wow. So it's that is amazing. And it seems like a very thriving, organization and platform. So I'm super excited. I know I signed up as soon as I heard about it. I'm like, where do I sign up? I'm all about like you said earlier, that continuous education and just surrounding yourself with the like-minded business professionals to learn from, super important.
100%, 100%.
Wow.
That's what it's all about. Again, like my opportunity, my career thus far is completely different had I not continued to, listen to, other educational pieces. And I think it was a Joe McCall podcast with Rick Ginn where he talked about the probate process. And I just got very consistent and absolutely dominated probates in DeKalb County, eventually going out into Fulton, Cobb, and Gwinnett. And it was all just from continuing to be open to learning and development. So it could be somebody that pops up on one of the REI Live events or on one of the keys to success, meetings that you do that just sparks something in you. It connects, it makes sense. You take it, you run with it, and really, go out and, take action and make money in real estate for yourself. So,
Wow. Yeah, that is powerful stuff. So, I mean, with the whole COVID-19 and everything that's happening, has that affected your real estate business in any way? And how have you pivoted your business with that without, being able to interact with properties, or has that affected you at all?
yeah, it hasn't affected our process, so to speak.
Okay.
Once I really start to build out the cold calling team, and I was playing acquisition manager and not able to do everything,
Mhm.
I shifted to a model in 2018, beginning of 2018, where my acquisition manager was doing acquisitions over the phone. And so we only go out to the property after it's under contract, unless we absolutely have to send somebody by there, take photos or whatever, meet with the seller. And so it hasn't shifted our process very much. However, there was a shock, I think, with a few, lenders that were buying deals in February, March.
Yeah.
Um, I had, a deal put on hold because Clayton County is still closed. I have another deal actually that was scheduled to close today, but we're still waiting to get some information from Clayton County because it's closed. So it's affected us via a few transactions. Um,
Right.
Honestly, this is as great a time as any to continue to push forward with this business because I think there's going to be a lot of distress in the coming months.
Right.
The real cash buyers are buying. The only thing that I've really pivoted towards is being more aggressive on the disposition side, being more aggressive, seeking out buyers that are active right now, so that you know I can get those deals sold. Because if I had a buyer's list of 15,000, but 5,000 were the most active, that then
Right.
goes down to maybe 3,000 of them that are actually still active post COVID. So that's something that, we were seeing less of a response from our marketing for our deals
Hmm.
on the backside. But other than that, I myself and other wholesalers in one of my masterminds are still having success. And these guys are in, Tennessee, North Carolina, Alabama, Utah, Florida, and everybody is still having success uh,
Wow. That's
amongst other people that I see that are doing things across
wow.
the country. So it's still a great time to be buying and selling real estate. Um, I would just stay away from big full rehab type properties.
Right. And I totally agree. I mean, from what I see in my company, it's the same thing. You have some lenders who have been affected. You have some attorneys' offices. You have some real, the courthouses have been affected, but for the most part, it's pretty stable. And we've been the same way, closing deals over the phone and only going out to view properties that we have under contract over the phone since I started it. And I think it was accidental that my first deal I closed, I didn't go out to it until it was under contract. And I was like, well, why would I start going out? Even though all the training I was hearing said go out to the property, but I'm like, I didn't go out on my first deal, so why would I go out on my second?
Yeah, no, you're one of the lucky ones.
So I mean,
I know I spent a lot of miles and gas those first few years going to every property, wasting time,
wow.
driving
Yeah.
to money, and
Right. But lesson learned, and you got to see a lot of different areas. So that's the blessing in that. So, I mean, before we close out, what is some advice that you would give to a new investor or new real estate entrepreneur who is looking to get into wholesaling real estate? Would you tell them focus on houses, or would you tell them build your buyers list? Where would you tell someone who's new to start off in this business?
Yeah, it's gonna be those same, three themes. Whatever you do, be consistent, continue to learn
Mm,
and develop, but network early on. So I
yeah,
think that's one of my first modules is networking. Find
mm,
out what's going on, reach out into some Facebook groups. And so if you're anywhere in the nation, you can reach out via some Facebook groups and find out who's the best closing attorney or who's a investor friendly closing attorney.
right,
I would start there. Is there anything that else that you should know about your local market? And then, find a mentor because there's been countless people that I've run into over the years or have come through my coaching program that you know, have gotten a lot of information from a lot of different places, but still didn't know what path to go down. Because even for myself, a seasoned wholesaler,
right,
I can still have shiny object syndrome when I'm trying to
right,
work in my day to day. So imagine not knowing what can make money and having that shiny object syndrome. So find someone that you connect well with, seek out advice, instruction over education, and just do it. Be consistent, continue to learn and grow, and then continue to network. And anybody that is interested in the 7 steps that I have to wholesaling success, wholesale from anywhere.com is a place that you could go to check out what I'm showing people, how I'm able to do deals virtually over the phone. So
wow.
find a mentor like that. It is what it is, and I'm not just saying that because I'm doing that now. Like that was how I had so much success. Year one, 6 figures was because I had a mentor that gave me instruction.
Right. And on a side note, I mean the importance, how important is the mastermind group? I know you have a mastermind group that you've established, and I know I've recently reached out to you for questions that I've had within my company with regards to KPIs and different numbers and things that may be complex at times. How important is a mastermind group along with the mentorship and things like that?
Yeah, that's the other piece of it, of networking. And even if you're not able to find a legit like a mastermind, just
Right.
continuing to be around other people that are where you want to be or are working as a colleague and just, touching base and figuring things out, like it will help in the long run. Um,
Wow.
so for me in the mastermind group, it usually helps me settle in, focus on my goals, and then get seek advice from other investors that I trust and revere that for their own successes. And so that's something that I've had the ability to be a part of.
Wow.
A few of those now, and they're great. But even without that, just
Right.
continuing to network with colleagues and just see what's going on, bounce ideas off of each other. It'll get you out of being so focused on your path um,
Mm,
that it'll allow you to see things from another perspective, which is
right.
super important sometimes to really step back, look at your process, and then focus and be a little bit more strategic about what your next steps for your goals are and how to tackle them.
Wow, I love that. Just to finalize and to finish up, you're a dad as well, doing this business full time. Tell us a little bit about how it is as a father working from home with everything that's going on and maintaining that, parent and real estate investor business.
Yeah, I mean that's the roughest part about COVID is
Right.
that I have four young kids, 7, 4, 3, and 1.5. My one son lives in Illinois, but he's here. He's been here since March, and so that's been challenging, mainly because they want to spend time with me. I'm the don't tell my wife I'm the fun parent, right? I'm the one that's out playing soccer with them or
Right.
movie nights or whatever. And so, I feel guilty at times. My wife is doing a great job. She's, actually helping my son, my oldest, I think I've seen improvement with just her direct interaction with him. She was a former teacher,
Wow.
handwriting and whatnot. But it's, I oftentimes, either feel guilty that I'm not able to give them as much time as I need, or not able to continue to support her as much because I am in the trenches.
Yeah.
Aside from, coaching and content, like I have a, operation that I'm continuing to build and grow. And we want, we have high aspirations. I haven't found a COO yet. That was one of the things on my list at the end of last year is hiring priorities. But that is the next phase for me to get to a point where I have a COO, so I don't have to be in the day to day of
Wow.
business. But until then, it's tough because I want to be there with my kids. However, before COVID, being a real estate investor was great because, of course, I can make my own schedule. I can attend all the events. I might take a phone call on the soccer field or the basketball gym, but able to be there, whenever is great. So if you ever have an opportunity to take advantage of an entrepreneurial, um, role opportunity, continue to seek that out, and is my suggestion. And I'm just, again, blessed that I had the great opportunity when I did to have that freedom and get some of my time back so that I can spend it with the family.
Wow. Well, that is amazing. Amazing. I want to thank you, Brandon, for just taking the time out of your afternoon to discuss some of your keys to success in your business and in your life. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. If anyone wanted to follow up with you or reach out and connect, if you would just leave your information really quick so that everyone could know how to get in contact.
For sure. So on Facebook, it should be there, Brandon J. Barnes. PM me. On Instagram, it's I am B Barnes. So IAM B Barnes. And DM me there. I respond to those pretty quickly. And so, and if I don't, continue to be hungry and bug me until I do. Because that's some great advice that I got from my mentor. It was like, you got to be a rhino. And if you're faced with an obstacle, just continue forward. And so the people
Wow.
that really want, my attention get it. And I appreciate that aggressiveness because that's what you have to do as an entrepreneur, and especially in a sales role. So
Right.
reach out to me, I am B Barnes or Brandon J. Barnes on Facebook.
Wow, good stuff. I mean, you have dropped so many nuggets today on the show. I want to thank you again so much for taking the time out of your afternoon to discuss some of your keys to success in your business. Again, guys, it is your girl, Miss Lee, full-time real estate investor and entrepreneur based here in Atlanta, Georgia. And join us every Tuesday and Thursday. This is our new days now. We're live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 noon, where we interview local business professionals and entrepreneurs to discuss some of their keys to success in their business and their life. Again, Brandon, thank you again for joining us. Until next time, everyone, I will see you Thursday. And you guys have a great afternoon. Thank you, Brandon.
Cool. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.